Hi, my name is Pete, CEO of bitdrift, and today I'm going to take you on a quick tour of our first product, Capture. Capture is an incredibly powerful tool that allows you to find and debug issues in real time, even across millions of devices. It consists of a small, lightweight SDK you install on your mobile apps and a control plane on the server side. What you see in front of you is the explorations page, the starting point of our session today. One of the awesome things about Capture is that it allows you to very precisely target what problem you're trying to find. And it does this with workflows. Workflows are a sequence of events and conditions that you can set up. So let's do that to see if our app is using memory efficiently. Here's a workflow I've created to track the memory pressure events our app can get from the OS. I want to focus on people using the iOS version of our app, so I've selected that. And we could filter it down further by app version or OS version or a combination thereof, but we're going to keep it simple today. Now I want to see if we might have some memory issues, so I've created another event that looks for critical memory pressure events. And when that happens, I've created an action here called Plot Series. Plot Series tells the Capture SDK to record that that event has happened and to periodically persist it to the control plane. So what we have is when any iOS user opens our app and uses it for a while, happens to hit a memory pressure event with the critical level, we'll record that and send it back to the control plane where we'll graph it for you. We've created a new metric. Now to get a sense of a baseline to compare against, I've created a similar flow for memory pressure events with a normal level. Let's deploy this. So what happens when I hit the deploy button is that the control plane goes out to the millions of connected clients, figures out which ones are iOS, and delivers this workflow configuration to them. The Capture SDK then starts evaluating them. As you can see in the chart below, we've started to receive some data back. So what we've done is deployed two new mobile metrics to all the millions of iOS clients out there without any code, without any App Store deploy, and seen that data flowing in real time. Pretty cool. Now it looks like we do have some critical memory pressure events, so let's dig in a little bit further. First, I'm going to stop this workflow. I want to drill in and understand exactly what's happening when we're hitting these memory pressure events. So I'm going to use another action called Record Session. I'm going to drag it over here and connect it to that memory pressure event. Let's go ahead and deploy that again. When you install the Capture SDK, it starts collecting a large amount of telemetry right away. App lifecycle and resource usage like this memory pressure event, UX events, networking, your own custom logs. But instead of persisting them to the very expensive observability systems you probably have, it stores them locally in a highly efficient ring buffer. And what Record Session does is make good use of that ring buffer. So now, when a client hits that critical memory pressure event, not only do we record it, we actually take that ring buffer and flush it to the server. Now that information is pretty comprehensive. It's not just what happened when we had that memory critical event, but it's everything that led up to it. More importantly, we only send it for the critical events, not for the normal events. So we get the best of both worlds. Rich, detailed information that helps us debug the issue when we know we have it. But we don't have to collect or pay for it in the millions of other cases where we don't see it. As you can see, we've started to collect a few of those sessions. Let's look at one of them. We just ingested a lot of detailed telemetry when we flushed that ring buffer. Rather than force you to grep through a lot of complex log lines, we've parsed them and put them into this customized UX called the session timeline. The session timeline takes all that telemetry data and presents it in chronological order in a nice, easy-to-read format. It's optimized for scannability, so you can scan through and see what happened at what time and see if you can find some correlations as you're debugging an issue. Up top, we have the minimap, which provides an at-a-glance view of all the activity in a session. You can even break it out by event type if you really want to. We've tried to call out a few noticeable events. There's our app memory pressure event, and if you want to jump to a spot, let's jump here, it scrolls right to it. You can see that for each type of log line, we've given it a different color. We've tried to pull out relevant information. For example, on this network event, we have that there was a success call. We went over 5G. We were in the foreground. For our app memory pressure, we had a warning event. But if you want to drive deeper into it, you can actually see the detailed log lines. We've parsed it in an easy read format, but this is the raw log line. In fact, you can copy it right here. Now, since we're looking at memory, Let's look and see what memory usage was like across the whole session. Right here you can see, as the time goes on, what the memory usage was in the app. And as I scroll, we'll roll along so you have a good sense of what was happening. Let's say instead we wanted to see what the user was doing at this time. So let's turn off this view and turn on what we're calling a session replay. Now the Capture SDK automatically stores a representation of what the user was looking at in a compact and privacy-aware manner. So as you scroll by, you can see the UX is starting to change depending on where your log lines are. So you can see and correlate what was happening in the application with what the user was looking at. It's a very useful tool to be able to debug. Note that you can see where they are in the application and what's happening as they scroll through it and interact with it, but you're not seeing their personal information as they enter it. If you want to focus on the user interactions, you can go to the Session Replay tab up here. This view allows you to focus on the user journey as they experienced it while using the app. Let's hit play here. And as you can see, you'll see the UX mirror what the user was doing at the time. You still have events here that we've called out, like those app memory pressure events in case you want to jump to them. We also have the resource view, like the memory one we were looking at earlier. We also have this neat view, which is our 3D view, that allows you to see all the different layers being rendered in the app in case something is happening and something that's not in the foreground. I hope you've enjoyed this quick tour of Capture. We'll be doing some follow-up videos where we go more in depth in some of these areas. But until then, come and join us at bitdrift.io, where we'll have a lot more information for you. Thank you.